Dave Dravecki wrote a book called Comeback. It's a story of hope, courage, and perseverance. He was one of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball until cancer was discovered in his pitching arm in 1988. The surgery resulted in the removal of the deltoid muscle in his pitching arm. Miraculously, he came back a year later to pitch again in the major leagues. The comeback was short-lived when 5 days later his arm broke dramatically in the midst of his pitching motion as he tumbled to the ground in excruciating pain. Soon after, the cancer returned. I'm Tom Miller, former Babe Ruth League legend, at least in my own mind. I now pastor Central Assembly in Superior, Wisconsin. This is Fuel for the Fire, volume 763. Let's call it Comeback. Dave Dravecki made a remarkable comeback for sure. He even wrote a book and they made a movie documenting his faith. But there's a guy in the Bible who may have made the comeback of all time. His name is Peter. Peter's major league career had its ups and downs for sure, but he hit rock bottom when he denied Jesus as the crucifixion was about to take place. You remember the story. You can find it in Matthew 26, 69 through 75. When he came to his senses, he wept bitterly. He figured he would be sent down to the minor leagues, but Jesus kept him on the roster. That's all Peter needed was another chance, and he made the most of it. When he got another opportunity to get in the game, in Acts chapter 2, he preached his heart out. It was the first sermon in the history of the church, and 3,000 people were moved by Peter's message to surrender their lives to Jesus. Talk about a comeback. When I read Acts, I have to remind myself this Peter is the same guy who struggled so in the Gospels. He's a new man. He goes on to write part of the New Testament, and he becomes a pillar in the early church. Peter looked like a failure, but that was before his comeback, a comeback for the ages. After Dave Dravecki's comeback, the cancer returned. He was forced to retire from baseball in 1989. Eventually, the arm had to be amputated. Little did Dave Dravecki know, the loss of his dream would become the platform from which he would share the love of Jesus literally around the world. You've had adversity in your life too. It may be something that happened to you, or perhaps it was a choice you made that brought pain and heartache into your life and the lives of those around you. Either way, it doesn't have to be the end of your story. Don't give up. It's time for your comeback. That's the way I see it. And that's a little fuel for the fire. And remember, I love you guys.